White House Chief of Staff John Kelly made a bold statement saying that Donald Trump was the champion of DACA.
I would say right now the champion of all people that are DACA is Donald Trump.
And also today, John Kelly mentioned that those people who didn't sign up for DACA were probably too afraid or too lazy to sign up for DACA.
But some would say we're too afraid to sign up, others would say we're too lazy to get off their asses, but they didn't sign up.
First and foremost, Donald Trump is not the champion of DACA. Donald Trump had a proposal that would maybe fix the issue of DACA while attaching so much more that would eventually harm the community. Things like increased ICE raids, things like increased border wall funding, 25 to 35 billion for border wall funding. He wants to defund sanctuary cities, and that's just a short list of things that Donald Trump wants to do in exchange of 1.8 million people who would be eligible for a pathway to citizenship, hopefully. I don't believe that Donald Trump is a champion of DACA. He's actually the one who ended it last year. I will acknowledge the fact that he is putting pressure on Congress, and sometimes Congress does need a little push to act, but doing so, it resulted in thousands of people losing their work permit a day. And that number will only increase daily starting March 5th, and that's about 27 days away. My second statement, John Kelly saying that the people who didn't sign up for DACA were too afraid or too lazy. First of all, yes, some people are afraid. We're afraid of our uncertain future in this country. When I signed up for DACA 5.5 years ago, I didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't know where my information was going to go. I didn't know when it was going to end. I knew it was going to end eventually because it wasn't meant to be a permanent solution. So I made myself vulnerable. I gave all my information to the government in hope of being able to stay here for however long they would grant me to. But the fact of not knowing what would happen to your future, saying, yes, I'm here, I'm undocumented, it is scary, and people have the right to be afraid. There are ICE raids going on, deportations going on. It's not something so easy to just come out as undocumented, especially to the government who you're afraid of. Second of all, I don't think that people were too lazy to not sign up for DACA. He also followed that statement by saying people were too lazy to get off their asses. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the White House Chief of Staff using such harsh language on people who are human, who deserve the right to not only stay in this country, but be considered as human. Undocumented immigrants go through so many struggles to, first of all, get to this country, and second of all, work so hard to provide for their families given the circumstances that they're in. Sometimes undocumented immigrants don't have the resources from their family, don't have monetary resources, or even governmental resources to be able to find the adequate job. But regardless of that, there are thousands and thousands of immigrants who find work, who are able to survive, who are able to provide for their families. And I don't think that's being lazy. As Donald Trump would say, it's very sad that people in the White House, people in the government right now who were elected to lead us, who we are supposed to trust, are saying things like this. Quite honestly, I think it's very disrespectful, and I think it's inaccurate. I honestly don't even know why I get surprised anymore when I get these news alerts about the dumb things that people are saying about DACA and DACA recipients and undocumented immigrants. But it never fails to make me upset, because people fail to understand that we are more than a work permit. We are more than a social. We are people. We are people who have lived in this country, who have the right to stay, and who will fight for the right to stay here. I am a DACA recipient, and I am not afraid or too lazy to fight for what is right.